All right. So let's get going, Humantic.
Absolutely. Apologies on that front. I think I'm in the mountains, so my bandwidth is not the best. And that's where technology fails sometimes, right? When you're in the remote areas. So I'll be off camera. You can't see me, but I'll be able to help you share what Humantic
Yeah,
is
no,
all
sure.
about.
It's far less important to see you than it is to see the tool.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Right. Uh, Great. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to present Humantic on this forum. I was looking at all the tools. The rise of AI is sudden. I mean, like it's actually helping a lot of people now. Right now, with the rise of AI, where Humantic comes in, where what is our overall objective is selling is very important in today's world. Whether it's if you can make a great product, but whether the buyer will go and buy the solution is something that is very important. Now with the rise of AI, it's so automated. Everything is so automated. Everyone over here receives cold emails, cold calls, whatnot. Everything is automated in today's world. That it's become too much noisy out there when we are trying to do any kind of selling. And that's where Humantic is coming in saying, take a step back. Don't go in and do automated stuff like you've been doing, but try to understand the buyer better before even you reach out. Okay, so I'll just quickly share my screen so that I can just pull up the presentation. Here we go. Let me know once it is visible. Okay, I hope it's visible for everyone, right?
We can see it.
Okay, yeah. All right, so while we are in the world of AI, we have so many tools about account intelligence, like you have Zoom infos, you have other tools that gives you details about account, about revenue intelligence, and conversational intelligence, like our note takers, tools like Gong. There is very less tool. There are hardly any tools, I must say, that gives you any details about the buyer that is the ultimate decision maker about any deal that you're going to get. Okay, and that is where Humantic is coming in. What we do in a nutshell, if I would like to explain, is we help you understand the buyer by their behavior. So we are based upon a personality framework called DISC personality, right? And what we say normally is if you're not able to adapt to the buyer, the chances of you getting the deal decreases because everyone is connected on a Zoom call, right? It's 30-minute Zoom call. Everyone has to do their own stuff. And what are the chances that you'll be able to establish that trust initially and within the whole deal with multiple stakeholders so that they are able to be convinced enough to go ahead and say, okay, I like this company, they're providing good solutions, but I also like this person. I see him, he's a good person, right? And this is a Gartner report. They said feelings over facts. If you're just able to make a person on a call or on a meeting or on a cold call or on a LinkedIn message feel better, the chances of getting that deal or a conversation or a meeting is higher by 30%. Okay, and that's where Humantic simply says that before even you make an outreach, right, there's always easy, like in today's world, I talk to around 20, 30 companies. It's so easy to go and train your sellers to do more. The market is at the bottom at the moment, right? So everyone is chasing sellers' productivity. But let me ask everyone, like, yeah, the question is, doing more is possible, but when you do more, the quality of the outreach decreases. And that is where the importance of doing very quality driven outreach in today's market is very important because of all the noise. You can literally send thousands of emails by just clicking a button. And that's where the quality of outreach becomes the ultimate goal. Okay. The kind of the kind of output this has, and I'll show you some of the examples. I'll try to give a live demo of the solution, is if you do a specific kind of outreach and understand people by their personalities, what motivates them, what doesn't motivate them, what kind of language you need to use on an email, what kind of things you need to say on a meeting, that will increase the overall response rate. And it basically increases the response rate by 109% on average and revenue by 16%, right? And we started, I think, around 2011-ish, late 11-ish, 2012 early, right? Where we are backed by Gokul Rajaram, John Donovan, Amit Singh. They all are pretty well settled in their world that they are in. So I'll just quickly go ahead and jump to what we do when I say Humantic AI. Okay, so imagine you go on Tommy's profile. Tommy is a prospect, and you want to connect with Tommy. I was talking about buyer insights. All you know about Tommy is the LinkedIn profile, right? All right, Tommy has written something about himself. He has worked on many organizations. He's been a founder, investor, and that is it, right? All of these details, you can use this and try to go on a call, but everyone has these details. But this is where Humantic is coming in and saying, your default type, maybe you go on a call, you speak too much, you talk about a lot of different ROIs and stuff like that. That might be your default type. This is where Humantic is coming in and saying, Tommy is a different kind of a person, and you need to change the way you basically communicate with Tommy. From a disc perspective, from what he is as a buyer, okay, it says he's friendly but fast, but he's driven, but he's considerate. Okay. Then when you're going on a meeting, what are the things you need to do? When you are trying to make a call, can be a cold call, can be a normal call. If you speak slow, you need to speak fast. Actually, Tom, it says you should sound like a get shit done person on a call with you, right? And that motivates you a lot. You can't be apologetic and nervous on a cold call with Tommy. He will lose trust in you. He will not have a conversation with you. Okay. Then it goes back to the point of sending emails, right? When we try to send emails, sometimes we like to follow our own way of writing. Maybe I like to use salutations and greetings with everyone. I would like to do that with everyone. Over here, it simply says, don't use salutations and greetings with Tommy. He will not get offended by that. Actually, he liked that. Use the length of the email as short because he has the dominance, the D type. When I say disc, D stands for dominance in his personality. All right. So that's what you can get from a personality angle. And then it has a lot of features wherein we typically deal with a lot of enterprise companies when I talk about Fortune 500 companies, because they are hungry for buyer insights. They want all the insights that they can get before even they step into any kind of a deal. Now, imagine you have multiple stakeholders. You're going and selling a big deal, right? It's a $60 million deal that you're pursuing. And there are multiple people in the whole stakeholders. Like in today's world, on average, if you are pursuing any enterprise deal, you'll have 5 to 10 stakeholders from the starting till the ending of the deal, right? And this is where Humantic is coming in and bringing something called the buying committee map. So let's say I'm trying to connect with Vast Data. Vast Data is one of the companies I want to connect with. I already know Rick. He's recently joined as a CRO, right? But I need to connect with other people. So I have a buy-in before Rick actually approves the budget. How I do that, right? This is the disc chart for the ones who know disc. This is easy to understand. Who are the high Ds, who are the high Is, S and C. It will also tell you that this group is more on the dominant side. Actually, it's 50% of the dominant side. You can't go inside the call with these people and talk about stories. They're more about results. They're more about focus. Keep the length, short length, right? Don't be too verbose with them. Then it can also tell you that you're pursuing this deal and this is the picture of the deal. Okay. This is Rick. He's a champion. He's a crusader kind of a personality. But there's a skeptic over here. There's a neutral person named Richard, and there are friendlies. Okay. How many times it has happened that we have had good 3-4 conversations with the company, but when it comes to the point of having a new member getting added to the deal, a new stakeholder, the things are not going the way it used to go, right? It's not the way it is going earlier, right? And that's where Humantic is coming in saying, Eric is a skeptic. Before even you go and present any kind of a thing to him, check his profile. is more about value seeker. He's a skeptic, will ask a lot of things, claim on data, numbers, and whatnot. And when you step into the meeting, you're well prepared. Chances are Eric will ask you these questions. You're prepared about all the questions that you have, and then you'll answer them. The trust factor increases, the chances of converting the deal increases, and the risk of losing the deal, which is highest at the moment that we are, the current macroeconomics of the world, it will decrease, right? And that's where the buying committee can come in. There's a lot of other things that we do, but if you look at the whole picture, we are in top 20 sales AI tools in mid-market North America. We're just behind Salesforce. And okay, I should not even compare Salesforce with us. Salesforce is the big daddy of the industry. We are just a startup, right? And if you see, we are number 2 on this. The ease of use, the adoption, the requirements, and everything is there that backs up this data, right? Any questions? Any questions if anyone has, and then I can, deep dive into that.
What are the data sources you're using beyond LinkedIn?
At the moment, we are using LinkedIn, so that is right. But we are building something called real-time, predictions, right? Let's say we are on a call, we are on a video conferencing call, you're talking to someone, and you need to understand, all right, I need to nudge this person is not feeling confident, and all these kind of stuff. So all these things are in the product roadmap. So yeah.
How are you minimizing hallucination? Because LinkedIn profile information is very limited, but AI can make up a lot of things, right? So trying to understand, are you using any AI model? If so,
we have our own AI model. Yeah.
Is it a generic AI model, or you build your own Gen AI model for this?
So this has been into the picture since 7 years. Before this, it was used to call fraud AI. It was into social listening. If you would understand, like people talking about products and stuff like that. We have our own AI engine. What it does basically, it analyzes your LinkedIn profile in more than 160 plus ways. Typically, when you go and take a disc test, you answer a lot of questions, situational questions and stuff like that. It rates you on all these factors and then brings up on the personality front. Okay. Now, a basic question that everyone would have, is this accurate? Is this trustable or not? Okay. Let me tell you, our accuracy is around 85 to 90%. No AI, sales AI like us, is perfect in the world. Like, I don't know if you read that thing about Google AI. It was suggesting pregnant women to smoke 2 cigarettes a day, right? So that's where the AI can be. And our accuracy is around 85 to 90%. We are recently, relaunching our AI ML model, which will improve this. So yeah.
I think the hallucinations, well, I mean, I get your point, and it's a valid point. It's not critical. I mean, it's not like if you, I think it's closer to 95 to 98% accurate. And what I mean by that, it may not, like it calls me a dominant influencer, right? It's right. Now, where am I at on that dominant influencer? Maybe it over analyzes or under animate a little bit, but I'm probably a dominant influencer, right? So just the nature of what they're producing, I don't know that it's critical that there's absolutely no hallucinations, right? We're not doing financial data, we're not doing, right? So I think it's a good question, and I do want to follow up with that. So why don't you talk to your technical team and get back to us on that? And I'll send it out to everybody. But I don't know how critical it is.
Yeah, Tommy, it's interesting when you're talking about digital beings and capturing someone's personality.
Yeah.
That often involves hallucination. So, nobody reads somebody perfectly, but it's part of how you interact with people.
Yeah, I agree. Well, but so he's doing the sales case, which is a good, as a salesperson, yes, and that's where they make a lot of their money. But think about it, you can do it from a marketing standpoint too. If you have a database of 500,000 people, technically, you can go run a personality match against all 500 people. Let's say with all their dominant and subtypes. So you might have 40 different emails, depending on what that person's personality and classification. And actually, I guess it's actually more than that, right? So you could segment your database and say, okay, this guy, you need to, have short story and you need to use these words, and the next person you need to use those words. And so you can actually craft a different message for every single person in your database based on their personality type, right? Which is pretty cool. Now, it's not inexpensive. It starts at 40 cents a name. They'll go down to like 10 cents a name if it's a mass, right? Um, but it's a damn good solution for marketing to be able to improve results right away. But I also look at it in things like this. Think about it, because one of the tools we want to build is this, AI for recruiting. I want to do away with recruiting, right? And so, I think AI can do everything a recruiter can do better. And matter of fact, there's AI tools that does everything a recruiter does today. There's just not one that does all of it, right? But it starts with job. So think about it in this way. If you're doing a job description, right, you could go look at all the past historical data, have AI go collect all the data, look at all the people who filled that job, look at their performance review, look at their personality type using Humantic, and then come back and build a basic, not just a job function, but actually, what is the actual personality type that's going to do best empirically over time. It'll be shown that they'll do the best in that job, right?
Yeah, great
And
use
On that
case.
point, Tommy,
what?
But some of the states New York State have formed as a regulation that if you are using AI tools for resume filtering or any of that, there are some restrictions. You need
Sure.
to prove that it is not discriminating,
I
based
laugh at
on
that. Do y'all think
certain protected classes, those kind of things.
no, 100%. And you've got to do all that stuff, and you've got to test it. And I'm not. It's not saying that there's not things that you want to do. I don't want to oversimplify it. But number one, I think it's funny that they think you think AI is more. Uh, who do you think is more discriminatory, people or AI? Right?
Yeah,
like empirically, I could show you that almost AI today, even with prejudice and other things, right, would be empiric. I can show you empirical data that AI is way more objective than people are, right?
no, I
So
agree with you, Tommy. As a AI practitioner,
I
100%
know,
agree. But upcoming regulations, that's one comment.
yeah, you're going to
But
have to prove
yeah,
it and
yeah,
be. And
yeah.
there's people. Hey, listen, I talked to the second largest VMS, the guy who runs the product, builds the product for him, right? And it's the same thing. I mean, I think they've got to look at those things too. They don't want to be the ones that are the early adopters in something like that, right? Because of not just the regulatory side of things, but the political. I will tell you that the biggest hindrance to AI in organizations today is first the contracts and governance team, and then second, the worry about, how public will perceive them if they do AI and somebody loses a job, right? And so it's 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 governance, it's discrimination, and it's also public.
Agree. Yep,
Yeah.
you're right.
It's invasive to
Quick
some
question
extent.
on the knowing the buyer aspect of this. I get the personality,
Yeah.
and that's fabulous. But what about the networking? Will it tell you if this buyer, is the son of your former college roommate?
No,
I
but
saw an AI
we are going to
demo.
build we are going to build what I call a connection plan that will look at your background and go, oh, how do I want to connect with you? All right, well, okay, you're on the cancer, you're on the board of the American Cancer Society. There's going to be a 2 o'clock gala. You're going to be there, like, oh, your kid's in that high school, right? Like you can build connection plans, but look at AI to go do all the research background, and then basically disseminate that into the top 3, 4, 5 different touch points where you might be able to get a hold of somebody. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, the demo I saw 4 years ago was amazing, and it was actually done as a prototype for one of the big companies that we've already mentioned, and it was mining the relationships out of LinkedIn, and it would say, okay, I need to go prepare a proposal for this company. Who should I work with? And it would find these amazing relationships that this stakeholder you're talking to is the boss of your former college roommate, to
Yep.
pick an obvious kind of thing. But it connected all those dots because it knew This AI was rule-based and knew how to follow that network and deduce meaningful relationships as opposed to just degrees of relationship.
Is this your buddy in Austin that I need to get a hold of?
Yes,
I haven't forgotten. I'm going to follow up on that. I'll get a hold of you next week.
that's where I saw it. Absolutely.
Yep. I would like, because if he's interested, we'll talk about offline, but yes, I'm interested in that.
Yep.
Okay.
So how
Neeraj,
does this
question.
come in? How
Yes, go
does this help in customer segmentation and customer audience generation?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, more than anything, you can customize your message towards what that person's personality is, right? So we're going to talk about micro segmentation later with R4, but let's say you have a segment of customers that are likely to buy your product, like 95%, 96% likely to buy your product. I want to connect them, right? I want to go connect with them. Well, I could send one email to them and say, hey, looks like you're going to buy my product or a product like us. Let's use a car dealership. Let's just use an example. Let's say R4 told us that, we've got, 200 people in Atlanta that are most likely going to be buying a BMW or similar type car in the next 30 days. Okay, I want to reach out to them. I don't want to sell them a car, right? I'm a BMW developer. Well, I could send them an email and say, hey, it looks like you're going to buy a car. Or I could send them a very personalized email that uses this because this will actually suggest an email for you or a note for you, depending on what medium you're going to use, right? So you could actually, out of those 200 people, craft a very specific message, like you write the generic one, and then it will basically convert that generic message into a very specific message based on their background. So in one case, it might be very short and very bulleted. Another one might be a story, right?
Yeah.
And so it will segment people based on their personality types and how they like to be communicated with, and write a message based on how they like to be communicated with, that has your relevant points. That's how you
So
segment.
that's more of a content generation rather than segmentation and audience generation.
So, Dave, if I
Segmentation
can answer your
is
question.
coming up. That it would segment the way that it would segment is based on personality types. That in and of itself is probably, other than sending a message you already want to send, it's not like for marketing segmentation. Hold on, R4's coming. We'll talk about it in a minute. No, that's where we would do that.
So just to add on point, we are deployed at the biggest e-com company in the world. You can guess the name, right? Now, they use it in the customer segmentation this way, that their customer success team is basically clubbed with the same kind of personality of the customer that they are talking to. Let's say if somebody is a calculative type, they have clubbed the calculative type customer so that the upsell is easy and the retention is easy. And then the sales team also uses the data of the history. Let's say they have won 100 deals and lost 50 deals. So they go and analyze all the people in the deal, and then they understand, okay, this rep is winning more with this personality. We as a company overall is winning with this kind of personality. And then they focus the outreach rather than reaching out to all the people. They focus the outreach and only use the quality angle of the customer segmentation. That's the angle the Fortune companies use this thing into. So yeah.
Are you using
that's actually pretty interesting. And let me add on to that real quick. One of the important things, like when I was talking about building a job type and knowing what kind of personality, and again, that wouldn't be recruiting, that would just be identifying what kind of personality type does good in a job, right? The might be bias in there. I mean, maybe you'd have to figure that out. But the other part of that is personality types between. So I got a job and I got a manager, and the manager's dominant influencer. Do we really want to hire a dominant influencer to work with a dominant influencer? That's never going to work out right. Right. And so, you can also kind of do this on a personality type of, that team thing that he showed. There are empirical data that shows that, a team that's made of different types of people, different composure, do very well in certain types of things, right? So if you want to go do that thing, you might want to build a team with that personality characteristic as a whole, right? So you can use it to do that as well too, build teams, or to identify, which candidate would be the right person for a specific type of job, not just based on the job type, but also on how they will interact with that manager, right?
Personality matching, basically, that might be a good tool for maybe making. Just kidding.
No, well, listen, it's a
It can be.
fact.
It can be.
There-
On a funny
It
note, I just had a
absolutely
call.
could be used for that.
It can be. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, all right. I think, do anybody ever have any other questions before we move on?
Are
I
you
just
using any
joined late. Sorry,
psychological?
I only saw the last slide, but I'll catch up on recording. Thank you.
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
interesting product.
There's just so many use cases for it. Like identifying somebody's personality type so that you know how to communicate, how they want to be communicated, what kind of message, what they might do, how they might react. I mean, think about it. There's a lot of use cases that where that would be beneficial, right?